Remember, this is the ET Now big news break. The Finance Ministry is set to disburse about 28,615 crore rupees worth of recapitalization to fund 7 PSU banks today. And this is what we're picking up from our sources at ET Now. This is, remember, part of the earlier pre-decided tranche. This is not the fresh tranche that the government is going to mull over. And the breakup is now what we at ET Now have got our hands on. How much United Bank of India, Central Bank of India, Bank of India, UCO Bank, a Bank of Maharashtra, a syndicate bank or an OBC would get. We just chatted with Bank of Maharashtra as well shortly, and they seem to be indicating the same, that there would be recap bonds which the government is going to issue, and this should happen very shortly in about 1 or 2 days' time. But we have with us for further perspective Lalitabh Srivastava, AVP Research at BFSI Sharekhan, joining in on the show, and we also have consulting editor ET Now Maithili Bhusnan as well in our studios. Lalitabh, if I could first start with you, how is it that you're reading into this bit of news? I mean, I know this was very much in the works in any case. Now we have a profound breakup of how much which PSU bank is going to get. Do you think this will finally help arrest the recap needs?
Yeah, hi. Yes, this certainly helps. The additional capital that these banks would get would certainly help them shore up their CET1. Apart from that, most of the banks that you have named have in double-digit net NPM levels, and it is very urgently needed or required by the situation also that they come out of the PCA framework. So minimum 6% net NNPA is required to come out of that. So the additional capital will help them also, meet up additional provisions and have a faster exit from PCA.
Maithili, how is it that you're reading into this? I mean, this would definitely help arrest the problem, but what next? Because the funding requirements, I guess, is an ongoing process, and these banks would continue to be recapitalized every quarter.
Well, yes, you did hit the nail on the head, because the fact is that, like we are seeing with farm loan waivers, I think the need for recap will keep increasing as long as the government keeps doing these things, because the NPAs on the bank balance sheets will keep increasing. So as far as these banks are concerned, one is not sure how many will actually finally exit PCA, but it will certainly help them. But I'm a little puzzled why government is so parsimonious in handing out this recap, because once you've decided what the recap is and you've set aside the funds for that, then why not give it at one shot rather than in drips and drags? But I think one will never ever understand the ways of government entirely.
No, that indeed is the case, and I also perhaps believe, and maybe I'm second guessing the move over here, that they want to see how each of the tranches is absorbed by the system in terms of what they do with the money and whether or not they put it to efficient use. So I think there's some element of accountability, but I don't know, Maithili, you have a better sense on this. But how does this now play out? Do you think that the credit environment is improving in a meaningful manner? And we've seen the worst when it comes to rising NPAs for a lot of these ailing banks, that all this good money will actually go into good productivity for the banks.
Oh, well, I'm a little bit more pessimistic on that, Tanvir, for the simple reason that though we might have seen NPAs in the non-farm sector at least stabilize to some extent, the fact is that in the farm sector now we're going to see a sharp increase in NPAs, because a lot of farmers will now simply stop paying their loans for the simple reason that they feel that even in states where the governments have not announced farm waivers, it is almost inevitable, because that's what is a competitive race to the bottom. So I don't think you'll see very much offtake, partly because, as I said, banks will be apprehensive, and also because demand for credit has not really picked up till such time as elections are over and we have some clear direction of what kind of government we are going to get. I think large corporate investment plans will be on hold. So even as we edge closer to capacity utilization number, which is over 75% as per the RBI's latest records, and there would be a case for investment to pick up, I think most large corporates would prefer to wait and see, hold their horses and see what kind of government we get, what kind of policy decisions are announced post-election. So I don't see much credit offtake happening, unfortunately.
Lalita, we just spoke with the management of Bank of Maharashtra, and they were of the opinion that they've seen the worst in the NPA cycle, and that this money, this tranche, will help them meet their provisioning requirements. That on the capital adequacy front, they're okay. but they just need to see the environment change when it comes to credit offtake. What's your own sense? How much can this really help in terms of stemming the bad loan problem?
See, bad loan problems are a result of economic conditions as well as banks' own underwriting capabilities. While economic conditions will improve, banks' underwriting capabilities, risk pricing capabilities also needs to augment it, also needs to look into. We are in the phase of recognition. We have done some recapitalization, but the actual restructuring of the overall lending and lending structure, that needs also to be looked at an urgent basis, so that such problems are minimized in the future. So my opinion at this point of time would be that this infusion certainly helps, but for a meaningful improvement, qualitative changes must be brought in.
Okay. Lalitabh as well as Maithili, thanks very much for quickly joining the dots when it comes to the bank recap program, and now it's being seen as a shot in the arm for the ailing banks.